last word. Good evening, welcome to The Last Word. It's Tuesday. When it's Tuesday, then after the news, it's time for The Last Word. And tonight, we want to carry on a national conversation that's been happening. Now, this is all about political intolerance and lawlessness. There's hate speech, there's the amplification and organization of goons, there's violence, and so on and so forth. And we have given ourselves a constitution in which we've also established some institutions and said that these institutions shall have powers to address some of these issues. Tonight we're asking ourselves, are these commissions and other state agencies helpless in curbing political intolerance and skirmishes? That's the question we're asking tonight, and we have a room full of active citizens. We have Wanjiru Ekonyo, who's a public spirited citizen, with us this evening. Also from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, Commissioner Jerusa Mwadime, and from the Interreligious Council of Kenya, Hassan Kulundu, and other citizens from, representing the various political interests and sides. Good evening and welcome. That's our question tonight. What we've seen recently is the utterances that have been attributed to political leaders and national leaders. Today, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission held a joint press conference with the Interreligious Council where the two came together to say, no. We should not have intolerance and violence and hate speech in this country. In fact, the NCIC then went ahead to say, we've opened investigations and there are active investigations against 10 individuals whom they listed in that press conference. We know those in the public conversation right now. Aden Duale, with words attributed to him and the interpretation of those words, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua and words attributed to him and the interpretation of those words, and Duale saying, if you have not called this one, then don't call me, or this. Surely, where are we headed? Now let's start with the NCIC. When are you going to summon these people, Jerusa?
Thank you very much. As it was said today during the press conference, and our chairperson brought it very clearly, the investigations are ongoing. And summons are issued once, twofold. First, once an investigation is concluded and there is culpability, or to assist with the ongoing investigations. So that now, when we gather the preliminary facts surrounding all those particular cases, and the first step that is usually done is most of these utterances, we get them through online platforms, through media stations, and so we do our communications to the Communications Authority of Kenya, the CA, for them to transcribe for us, for them to confirm if those utterances are indeed true, that they are not AI generated, that they were actually uttered, if the social media accounts, for example, if it's digital platforms, if the same are valid, and then now from there, NCIC now proceeds to summon the particular individual that has been named. We understand that when we came in as commissioners, we realized we were given a status update of all the pending investigation cases. And one thing that came out clearly was we wrote to Communications Authority, we still do not have the transcription. So there is that gap and that delay that has been happening. And one of the things that we are exploring as a commission is, first of all, to meet up with CA, because this is a collaboration effort between, or rather a stakeholder collaboration between many agencies. NCIC cannot work alone. We did very many of these agencies, including now the CA and others, for us to be able to move forward. But we are also exploring, apart from meeting with them and trying to see how we can fast track these cases, also alternative means of achieving the purpose. That is, for example, we are looking if we can hire our own communication expert, get the necessary licenses to do this, and also get the necessary transcribers, translators, and so on.
So what content don't you have? What Duale said recently?
What Duale said recently, we do have. But we need it transcribed, first of all, and also translated, because some words were...
What is to transcribe?
Transcription is, let me start this way. In court, in any court of law, you need evidence. There are certain threshold under the Evidence Act that must be met. For criminal cases, the balance of proof is very high, such that if the evidence that you present in court does not meet the standard, even if this matter is in the public domain, it must be obtained properly it must be proved to have been obtained properly, it must have some certain aspects and criteria that must be met. And so these are the things that NCIC must gather very carefully and ensure that evidence that is finally presented to the ODPP and finally to court is evidence that can stand law. So that just seeing a clip on its own, just moving around, is not evidence. For example, I can tell you that we need a certificate of electronic evidence to be produced in court, unless we have physical witnesses who are willing to come and say, I was there, I heard, I saw. And those witnesses rarely come forward in most of these cases.
Okay, again. So what Duale said recently, you have that?
It is with the investigations department.
So the investigations department has the content.
Yes.
Transcribing is what I am saying, putting it in words, in text.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's the translation, where you need to get a language expert to come and tell you this is what this person is saying.
Yes.
Have you done that?
That is the process that is ongoing, including a communication expert to actually put these words into context for interpretation, because most of the times when you take these cases to the ODPP, there is a matter also of interpretation, because both parties have a side of the story. For instance, I will tell you that we have received some people saying, for example, that hyenas move in packs. There are some good attributes of hyenas. They work in groups or interesting. And so you find that these are the defenses that will be mounted at the end of it all. And that is why even a communication expert is needed to properly say that this communication meant this in my interpretation, and this communication is likely to incite ethnic violence in one way or the other. So it is not as easy as it looks. However, as this fourth commission has come in, as I've told you, we're exploring alternative mechanisms, including civil remedies, so that now, because what I'm talking about is what can lead to a successful criminal conviction, or even if it's not a successful criminal conviction, something that can lead to the ODPP actually, the ODPP has to look at the case and agree that it is a proper case and agree to prosecute the same.
I get all that, Jerusa.
Yes.
So I'm just following the steps, so
yes.
we all understand where you are at.
Yes.
So get the content, verify that this is proper actual content, not AI generated,
yes.
not edited, not interfered with.
Yes.
Transcribe.
Yes.
Translate.
Yes.
Interpret.
Yes, correct.
Once you have found that there is something untoward here,
yes.
is that the point you summon somebody?
Yes, most of the time that is the stage that we summon somebody, and then when we summon them, we give them an opportunity to be heard, so that you issue summons similar to summons that are issued in courts.
Okay.
Then the person appears and they're supposed to give a statement, to record a statement, and after recording a statement, they're given an opportunity to be heard. NCSC plays what we call a quasi-judicial role, so that you're given all the rights of Article 47 in terms of a fair trial, a fair hearing, presumption of innocence until proven guilty, so that all those steps are taken. And then if NCIC finds that there is culpability, now there are several aspects that can be followed. One is the prosecutorial route, whereby now we recommend to the ODPP for this particular person to be prosecuted. Okay. Secondly, there is the option of now issuing compliance notices if this person is found culpable, so that you can tell them to either apologize or to retract, or such other remedies as maybe as the NCSC might find fit. We know that, as you know, that this is a new commission that has just come in, and those enforcement mechanisms have not really been explored to to their maximum by the previous commissions, and those are some of the things that we are going to try and see. What can a compliance notice do? What penalties and how far can we prescribe penalties in a compliance notice? Then now, when you issue a compliance notice, and if the same is not complied with, we have the option under Section 57 of our Act to actually go to a magistrate's court and request for enforcement of the compliance notice. But most of the times, you find that these things actually translate to hate speech or ethnic incitement or act, which is a criminal offense, and which now is forwarded to the ODPP. So if the ODPP does not act on it, or even if the ODPP feels that this does not meet the threshold. You know, proving hate speech also is it's a gray area. It's an area that has not been properly legislated. If you look at the Establishing Act, the ingredients are not really, they have not really been enumerated. We have a weakness in terms of our act came into place before the 2010 Constitution and also before digital platforms came forward. So you find that the balance of proof and the standards of proof are really high, and most of the times you find that it is not easy to get convictions for this criminal prosecution.
Just listening to that, does it sound like the commission is actually well tooled to do the job? Right? You can say yes or no. You can just voice your yes, no. Oh, you have the boards. Yeah, we have the boards, right? So you can give us the yes is green and no is red, right? Just listening to what the new commission is actually saying. These are the steps that we have to take, we have to follow. This is a high threshold, and sometimes the definition of what is hate speech or not can actually get lost somewhere in the middle. Do you think this commission and other agencies actually have the teeth to bite and deal with the issue of political intolerance and hate speech in this country? Yes, no? Please vote. Lift the card up. Let's see. Let's see what you think. Don't be fearless. Be fearless. Okay. Yeah. Many people are saying, kuna vile. It's no. But there's a gentleman here who thinks that you actually have power. Please give him the mic, Jelusa. Tell us your name and convince us why you feel that this commission actually has the wherewithal, not just the wherewithal actually, but has the necessary teeth to bite.
My name is Bethel Baraza. I believe that the NCIC is an independent body according to Article 10 of the Constitution. And when it comes to the formulation or the roles that each organization should work with, it should do it independently according to their own investigations first. So when we talk about the article, for example, Article 10, where around Article 33 there, where we say that in politics there's the speech where politicians are invited to do open speech, however, excluding the hate speeches. This NCIC should try to bother into much more investigation.
No, you're saying
yeah,
that they're not powerless.
Yeah, they're not powerless.
That they have sufficient power to actually curb it.
Yeah, they have sufficient power to execute their roles well so as to curb all hate speeches or any hate speech that might arise.
Are they using their power?
Currently, I feel they are not using their powers because if you're finding politicians are arguing themselves, saying that if you don't call this person, then I cannot come. If you call this person, I will come. It means it is not working unto their fullest of authority to say, hello, Honorable Gashagwa, come to our office. Honorable Dwale, come to our office. The citizens are complaining of a certain speech that you have given, and it is inciting and causing lawlessness in the country.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Somebody else had a green on this side. Who else had a green on this side? Nobody had a green on this side. Okay. Let's hear from Wanjiru. Wanjiru Gikonyo, public spirited citizen. You have, pushed this issue of accountability for a long time. Are these state agencies powerless in addressing political intolerance?
Well, definitely they're not powerless. As Bethwell says, they have a constitutional mandate, constitutional powers. However, the problem we are dealing with is an issue of political impunity. We are dealing with state-sponsored violence. We are dealing with politically mobilized violence and goons, supporters of politicians who then become marauders and marauders of violence. We are dealing with AK-47s being used in broad daylight targeting a political opponent. So in fact the fact that NCIC issued a statement is fine, but to deal with the level of political hijack the country is presently in, they need to step it up, because they are looking at the trees, in fact the leaves of one tree, and ignoring the forest. Kenya is in a state of where our constitutional powers are being suspended, they are being eroded. And it started with the collapse of the prosecution cases against Rigathi and against a number of people who were then appointed into public office. And ever since then, this administration has gone on to undermine the constitution and independence of institutions. So we are facing, actually the conditions we have in Kenya replicate those conditions of 2007. So I think it's very nice that the NCIC are here and speaking about the technicalities of what happens, but our politicians across the political divide don't even listen to court rulings,
Sounds
court
like
judgments.
they're caught up between doing things the right way so that, the entire process can be found to have been followed, right? If you just listen to what the commissioner said, Wanjiru, we have first to establish that what we are hearing in the public was actually said. Then we have to establish whether what was said and the interpretation actually correlates.
Two things.
And then go on and so
Two
forth.
things. There is a technical process that has been explained.
Yeah.
There is a political reality where gunfire, cars were being set ablaze, people died. So if you're talking about national cohesion, in Kenya, elections are a trigger point for violence and ethnic disruption because of politicians undermining rule of law. So the NCIC should have been on the ground in the first place, not waiting for evidentiary proof to be validated by the CAK and all of that. They should have had their own field reports. We got a report from actually this media house that your journalists were on the ground for 4 days, I think 5 days, following the perpetrators of violence. So we have a political crisis in this country. If NCIC is not careful, they will actually instigate the violence, because the statement they released today giving a list of names ignores the political realities and the context. After the opposition party has gone on to win a by-election, and then you release a statement with the top name being that of Rigathi, the key opposition, you're like, you have to be politically aware and politically sensitive. So the NCIC needs to recognize that they are working in deep politics and that they have a constitutional responsibility to interpret those politics and message consistently, clearly, credibly, and not create an illusion that they might be favoring one side or the other. Today's statement could easily tip the balance and continue to inflame because they missed the context that people died, that there were not just the political utterances, but there was violence, there was intimidation, there were all those things that took place and have been taking place since last year around the by-elections and since 2024. So every time they give a statement, they must start with that political background and then recognize even the ODPP. First of all, under best of circumstances, what we've learned in accountability and fighting corruption, the prosecution is the weakest arm of fighting corruption or fighting impunity because legal cases take so long, especially in this country. So what are the tools the NCIC has? One, political engagement. They should be engaging with those political actors. Two, they need to be on the ground. They need to activate their partners. Their partners include civil society, include the religious. But to come after the fact, to release a statement that is incomplete, and I would say very naive or very complicit, and actually very unfortunately crafted means the NCIC needs to go back to the drawing board and learn the lessons. How did they manage? They have managed, I think there are 3 or 4 cases where they've managed to quell inter-community violence through collaborative dialogue processes. What did they do? Those were political processes. They didn't have to use the strong arm of the law. So yes, do the investigation, but please be on the ground. In fact, active citizens were the ones reporting what was going on. They are ahead of the game. So NCIC needs to wake up because right now they are not up to the level of. Our elections are being stolen through violence and through, if you have enough violence and threats, and you then suppress the voter turnout. And that is what we are seeing an attempt to do. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Wanjiru. You'll pass the mic to the gentleman next to you, and then we'll come to Hassan a bit later. Let me just read the names of those that the NCIC today said are under investigation. 1, Rigathi Gachagua. 2, Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale. 3, Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku. 4, Governor Paul Otuoma of Busia. 5, Deputy Governor of Mandera County, Dr. Ali Maali Mahmood. 6, MP John Waluke Sirisia. 7, MP Wanjiku Mohia. 8, MP David Gakaria. 9, Tipape Naini Musa. 10, Dr. Dennis Addison Ouma. Now, looking at that, Wanjiru, from just casually looking at that, I'm seeing what they're trying to do here. They've started with, EGH to Cabinet Secretary. They've started with the former Deputy President to the 2 Cabinet Secretaries, to Governor, to Deputy Governor, to 3 MPs, to other active citizens. That may not necessarily mean that is the weight of the investigation that is contained in the statement. But all of these people are under investigation. And I'd like to come back to the commission to hear. So the latest one we know is maybe Duale. When were these others? How far have the others gone? Not now. You'll respond to that later. How far have the others gone? When should we expect to actually see actual action? Not just you're doing investigations and then maybe you shall release a statement after they've uttered 79 other offending statements. Let's hear from you.
Thank you.
Please hold your mic closer to you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Let me introduce myself. I'm Reverend Kefa Nyandega, the General Secretary for the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, an executive member of the Interreligious Council of Kenya, and I'm one of those who are there meeting with the NCIC today. And I can explain the context under which those names came through and what we went. We went as the Interreligious Council of Kenya first to meet with the NCIC to urge them to do the work that the commission is meant to be doing. And part of our team members had already gone to meet with them. Like you noted, the NCCK had gone, which is also part of us. Interreligious Council of Kenya is an umbrella that brings all the faith actors, the Muslims, the evangelicals, the Catholic, all of us were there. And so I just want to say, I want to reiterate what we said in that meeting, and we urge the commission. It is true that this commission has been in office for 64 days since it was inaugurated. 64 days. You may remember that before they came to office, there was a long lull since the previous commissioners were in office. So the secretariat was without commissioners for some time. And for the 64 days that they have been in office, we got to learn about the time they've spent to establish themselves, to organize themselves in-house and all that. Earlier on, you may remember, Eric, that Evangelical Alliance of Kenya hosted the secretariat led by the CEO in our conference meeting, a retreat sometimes back in March, where they explained to us their circumstances. And we are aware that the commission has its own weaknesses, which are structural. They have some legislations, amendments that they have proposed to Parliament to attend to, which has taken quite some time, and we are committed to push for that, lobby, to ensure that those legislations are strengthened. But what we told them, Eric, is that it is true that they might not have as strong teeth as we want to, but the little teeth that they have, they must use it to bite.
Do you think they're doing that, Reverend?
I think so, because for them to have identified the 10 people you have listed there, and I want to assure my friend Njiro that the names are not far-fetched. They are also not on one side. They have their own internal mechanisms that they have used, and they have some sufficient information to assure them to list their names. Those names are not listed there to have they have committed offense. They are saying they are investigating them. They are pointing it that they are investigating. Very soon they will be able to summon them and now interrogate them. But we said that no matter how weak the teeth is, even a small child, a 3-month-old child, before even the milk teeth develop, still can bite a mother with the little that is there. So we have said that let them demonstrate that they can actually bruise the political actors in a sense that they will feel. You may remember, Eric, we were all here in this country.
I just want to ask you, Reverend.
Yeah, please.
Tell me,
yes,
what to you would be a demonstration that this commission is biting?
When they summon, they follow the due process, they investigate, they get very good evidence, they work with the office of the DPP, and they take these people to court, and they are charged, and they are fined, if it's about fining, whatever the penalties that are given. Okay. When that happens, we will know that they are now having the teeth. But you see, the NCIC is not just to sit back, wait for people to utter those hate speeches, then look for them. They also have preventive mechanisms, public education, and that's one area where we, us as the religious leaders, we are committed to working with them so that we pass the right message to the public and we educate the public. Because also I want to say that I know it ideally would be to ensure that NCIC is everywhere. That's not practically possible. In the constitution that we have, the constitution obligates every citizen to uphold the constitution and to report every offender. Anyone who breaches that constitution, we are obligated. So we, including the media, and we are very glad with the work that you do. Presenting such and even having this kind of forum, Eric, is very helpful for the public as we educate the public. So everyone has the responsibility to identify such cases, report them. It is the responsibility of NCIC to have the mechanisms of processing and generating evidence, work with the Commission for Communication Authority, as they have said, then present their evidence to the ODPP and ensure that their evidence their cases are not the kind that
strong enough.
Of. Yes.
Reverend Asante Sana, I want you to pass the mic to the lady behind there. Please pick the mic, and I want to hear you say, you can sense there's frustration in the public with the commission, not just the current commission, but the NCIC. Over many years, there's hate speech, there's investigations, there's sometimes action is taken. Rightly so, and when Njiro even mentioned, they've gone to communities where there's actually some conflict in communities, and they've been able to address those issues and quell tensions. But when it comes to politicians and the impunity that's portrayed by politicians, to a level where politicians can come out and say, you know what, don't summon me if you haven't summoned so and so. I will not come even if you summon me unless you've summoned so and so. That is the level of impunity that tells you that people don't really feel that these commissions have any teeth. What do you think about that? Tell us your name, please, and what you do as well as a citizen of this country.
Thank you. My name is Mercy Chepkemoy. I'm a Kenyan citizen. I've listened to her, and like what you've said, they were able to deal with such issues with the communities, and with the political class, they seem not to be able to achieve that. Listening to her, she has mentioned several things, including the threshold in court in order to persecute someone. She has also mentioned the constitutional gray areas. From my own view, the political class have the resources and can hire the legal team who can then proceed and maximize on their weaknesses. And I think that is where they find it difficult to deal with the political class.
So are they powerless?
To me, they are. She first mentioned about them relying on communication authority. As at now, it seems like the burden of proof is on the communication authority. Despite what we have in public, it is for that media house to prove that, yes, this was said, this is not AI generated. And she also mentioned that there is a certificate which currently they don't have. So to me, I think they are not well empowered. Yes, to me, I feel like they are not well empowered to deal especially with the political class. And that is why they have the courage to come out here and say whatever they want to say, because they have the money, they know their weaknesses, and yeah,
the
thank
politician knows that they are two way ahead of the commission.
Yes.
Pass the mic to Hassan Kulundu in front, but before Hassan you speak, please Jerusa, pass the mic to one of the gentlemen behind you. Okay, behind. The gentleman with, I think, I'm colorblind, the jacket there, you had said that the commission is not powerless, right? Please tell us your name and convince us that the commission is not powerless.
Thank you very much. My name is Enoki Pet Limo from Bomet County. I'm pursuing civil engineering. I believe that NCIC is not powerless because, first of all, they have tackled the community conflicts. There was a conflict between Kapa and the Luo and the Somali community. The Wakuria, the Maasai and Kipsigis, and they have managed to tackle that conflicts. Then, of late, about 1 month or so, there were politicians, especially maybe, according to my own opinion, those under opposition, they usually self-attack themselves with guns. But of late, whenever they were doing their rallies in Western Kenya, they had no guns, because we understand that politicians can do what it takes to have political heights, or to manage, to have power. So the number of guns of late, I think it has reduced, and I'm sure they are working on the same, because
And
they are
you
working.
attribute that to the NCIC?
Yeah, because ODPP, the IEPC, and other independent bodies are working with the NCIC. So they are supporting each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Limo. Thank you. Hassan Kulundu, you were part of the meeting today, right? Between the NCIC, the Interreligious Council,
Yes.
and the discussions that, like we've been told by Reverend Kefanya Ndega. Now, is the NCIC well-resourced, or is the NCIC powerless in dealing with politicians, particularly, and the kind of nonsense that they spew?
Yes, NCIC is well resourced. It has got the capacity, and I think as of now, they are doing whatever they can do within the powers that they have, and I cannot blame them and say that they have underperformed. Reason why I say this, those of us who have got institutional memory of what happened in this country in 2007, in the run up to the 2007 elections, then we ended up with 2008 post-election violence. Then thereafter, because before by 2007, we didn't have the NCIC because we did not have the 2010 constitution. Then we have seen the elections that we have conducted after 2008 for sexual violence, when we have got the NCIC in place. And you can say that because of the presence of NCIC, it has kind of some guardrails. So they have succeeded in making sure that we do not have a repeat of 2007.
So their presence is a deterrence?
It's a deterrence. It may be subtle, but to the best of my knowledge, for those who have got institutional memory, it's a deterrence. And that one we must give it them a plus. Do they have the whatever the ability? Yes, they do have the ability. The ability, they have it because, as the commissioner said, they do investigations. Once I've done the investigations, they present their incriminating facts to the DPP. And we know that under the Constitution, the powers to prosecute are exclusively to the DPP. And we must also understand that our own very law that we might be blaming the DPP and blaming the NCIC, but these institutions use the very powers that we give them as those of us who approve the Constitution. So the DPP has got, before the DPP makes a decision to prosecute, he has to tick two boxes. One, the public interest threshold, and the evidentiary threshold. Many a times, for those of us who have worked with the DPP and have been able to listen to the DPP's office, they know that fine, a case might come, it can have the public interest, but the evidentiary threshold is not sufficient. And there is no prosecutor who will want to go to court with a weak case. So that's why you find that sometimes it's difficult. Now, let us go back to the people who are under investigation. Personally, I have not been lucky to listen to what they said, those people who are under investigation. But I can say that I suspect that those people who are under investigation, you know that they are being investigated for utterances. They did not do any whatever. So we're trying to develop, I think the investigation is trying to derive a criminal offense out of utterances. That is very difficult, I can assure you. And the way the commissioner said, those investigations, you must go to the DPP with very, very good cogent incriminating facts. Why? Because, remember, the suspects, if they become accused persons, they'll have a defense. And
you know, Hassan.
Yes.
And it's good that we talk about the history. So, in the run-up to 2007, one of the things that was said by the Waki Commission and the Kriegler Commission and the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, that in their report was what was happening. It was utterances.
Yes.
Tutangoa madoa-doa. Right? Such kind of utterances. They led to the violence that we saw in 2007. All right?
Yes.
Now, and let's tie this into who makes the laws. As they're making the law, they make it very difficult for us to actually start establishing what exactly is harmful and not harmful. In those days, in 2007, somebody could have argued that we are removing weeds. I mean, weed in our language means this and the other. And that is what we have seen happen, where every time the NCIC has called people, they come and they start saying, in my language, this does not necessarily mean the other. But should the other threshold be, have people taken offense?
Very good.
In the interpretation.
Yes.
If you go and say something, but then other people understand it in a certain way, and you are explicitly referring to them, then that should be something. You can't come and start telling me, it's a proverb in our language, In our language, there's a proverb that says, you shall do this and the other.
And that's why, Eric, I say, that will depend on the competence of the prosecution case. But we have got precedents. Let me try to assist so that we understand where we came from in Kenya for us to enact Article 33 and establish NCIC. We learned it from what happened in Rwanda in 1994 and the subsequent trials at Arusha. You see, in Arusha, we had got what we call the media trials. Then we also had got the political trials, and then we had got the military trials. The people who were convicted in the Rwanda genocide, they did not harm anybody physically, but they were actually charged and convicted for crimes of negligence, for what they did not do or for being reckless. Now let me take an example of there was one of the gentlemen called Jean-Jacques Kayesu during the Rwanda genocide. He was like a governor of, let's say, one of those whatevers. So during the violence, and I remember I was in Arusha, I listened to that case very well. He had been charged with so many, around 19 counts, but none of them stuck. But during the trial, the witnesses were, in fact, he was convicted of a charge of rape as a crime against humanity. But Akayesu did not rape anybody. But he was charged of that crime because of the utterances he made. Akayesu during that troubled time in Arusha, being a governor and a top person, he was walking and he met a group of young people. The way they barricade, you have seen the way goons barricade roads and bonfires. Then they called him, said, Mheshimiwa, can you tell us something? So he spoke to them, then he had got one parting shot. He said that after this meeting, don't come and ask me how a Tutsi woman feels like. That statement. So, after that, we realized that many women, Tutsi women, were raped. So later on, this is how the court itself framed the charge, said that given the nature of the person of Akayesu and the status he holds in society, people actually interpreted his words to mean that he go and rape women. And that's how the responsibility came to him. And that's what we should be able to do in this country, especially with regard to people in positions, political persons. Remember that in Kenya, even worldwide, a public person, people listen to you more and you carry a heavy responsibility. Even you, Eric, there are certain things you can be charged for, merely because it's you who said it, because you have got influence over people. And so this is the new way, in my view, I was suggesting that the prosecution has got a way of dealing with this issue. They have got precedents. They should be able to hold these people accountable despite the deception that, in my community we say that. So I think, in my view, the institutions that we have, they have the capacity, they are able to do that, but I think they have not just been they just need to be a little bit more creative. And we should be able to hold those people to account.
Let me put the words out there, okay? These commissions fear the politicians. Right?
Yes.
And utajitetea, Commissioner. These commissions fear politicians. There's the process, and I think it has just been the politicians hijacking the entire process. A commission is dependent on members of parliament for its budgetary allocation. The commissioners are dependent on political goodwill for them to actually get appointed into office. And the entire stay of these commissioners and their job is dependent on the politician. And then you're going to actually start investigating that person. That's why the person feels that they have more power. That's why they can say, you summon me, you can shout all you want, I will never come. Commissioner, utajitetea ukiwa tu hapo.
Okay, thank you. Let me start by saying that, let me just start from where you finished. Most of these commissions are independent commissions
By name.
with a fixed tenure of 6 years. And the removal process is quite a complicated and lengthy process. It can be done. It has been done before. I think the only one time it was done was with the we call them the Cherera 4,
Yep.
but you saw it's a whole process that has to be instituted by the president. The parliament has to vote for it. So there is a protection of the tenure of the commissioners, and so the reason as to why you might think they're not performing has nothing to do with protecting their jobs. Actually, the establishing law and the constitution has protected the tenure of the commissioners. However, what we need as commissions is courage. Because I will start by saying this. You've asked two questions when I finished speaking, whether or not the commission has power. And from where I sit, most of these commissions have the powers. In fact, if you look at the establishing laws of most of these independent commissions, and I'm talking about the Chapter 15 commissions and the statutory commissions, there is a wide range of powers, both investigative, compliance, enforcement, a bit, mediation, reconciliatory, recommendatory powers that have been given. They are very wide. The only gap that comes in the law is now the enforcement. You find that it's very wide powers, but the enforcement line is very narrow. And when, for example, the language of a statute talks about the word recommend, when you talk about the word recommend, it means that you can only recommend, you cannot enforce. And I think the only commission that has been able to move past that is now the most recently established commission. For example, the Office of the Data Protection Commission, which was established, I think, in 2019 now, which is very recent. Now you can see in the statute the wording is different, and they can impose fine. In fact, their power is to enforce administrative fines. And if you look at the Data Protection Commissioner, it's one of the commission that has come out very strongly because of how direct their mandate is and how direct the enforcement criteria is and how they are able to pursue civil remedies. So now, for our commission, NCIC in specific, we have, and my chair keeps saying this, we have 20 functions. Very broad functions, from advisory of government to recommending penalties, to enforcement in one way or the other, issuing compliance notices. However, the only pathway that we have in terms of enforcement is the criminal prosecution path, and I've already talked about that. And I've said we are actually pursuing an option whereby we don't rely so much on other agencies so that we can get our own experts for few things. So these are some of the strategies we're trying to put in place, because if something has not worked in the past, it will not work now.
Why insist on doing it?
Yes, we cannot insist. So as the new commission, one of the things that we're just trying to re-strategize around all the procedures that have been there and seeing how we can be able to maneuver around and be able to handle these matters in a more timely way. What I would say...
Tell you, Commissioner.
Yes.
You are the fourth commission, right?
Yes, we are.
The other three commissions have told us the same thing. You know, we are looking at how we can do this thing better. We have, during their term, they hype on the one small thing that they've included as a change. But if you look at from the time of Mzalendo Kibunja to now, and the kind of impunity that has been there in our political space, it's actually rising. The first commission came in as a result of the Kofi Annan negotiations. And so that time, not just the country, but everybody in the world was looking at whether Kenyans are making noise. And so that one had teeth and had, power of the teeth of everybody, supporting them. Come the second, come the third, and now the fourth commission. And those powers that you feel that you have been eroded, not in letter of the law, but in practice.
We just try to also so that we say we can try to say this issue that of impunity, isn't it? We can end it. We can, because we have done it before, even without those kind of powers. Yes. In this country, we had got a gentleman called John Njoroge Bichuki. He didn't even have the powers about. He got very few powers. But one day he just woke up and said that we are going to have speed governors. Every matatu operator is going to wear a what? Uniform.
Yep.
And he brought discipline in the most chaotic industry in this country. And able to comply. So
What did
just
Michuki have?
Yes, we just need
What did Michuki have?
Michuki, the courage.
That's one. Second, he had the goodwill. He had the goodwill of his boss.
Even without the goodwill of his boss, Michuki had the courage. You know, once you have the courage,
Yeah.
even your boss
We'll see that you have.
will surrender with goodwill to you.
When-
Can I finish?
Please finish.
Okay, thank you. So allow me to finish first. So I was just explaining where we are as a commission. It is true that the NCIC Act and NCIC was established after the 2007 post-election violence. And if you look at the wording of our act, it is not Constitution 2010 compliant. In that, you find that how it was worded, and after the enactment of the 2010 Constitution, there were no amendment. Other commissions pursued amendment. I don't know why we did not pursue, but if you look at, for example, the Commission on Administrative Justice, it used to be called Ombudsman.
Yep.
But immediately after the 2010 Constitution, they went and redid their law, and now they are called CAJ, and they were able to comply with the 2010 Constitution and basically word their functions and their powers around the 2010 Constitution. Same to the Commission on Gender Equality. It had another name and it was able to transition. So one of the challenges of NCIC is that first, it did not transition to the 2010 Constitution, number one. And number two, if you look at our law, there are no regulations under it to date. The Act was established in 2008. Now, a law basically sets out the general law, and then you get regulations to operationalize the law. So that, for example, when we say this section prohibits hate speech, it is regulations that could have gone ahead and described what hate speech is, expanded it, for example, to include the digital, say what is the balance of proof, how and that kind of thing, so that you find that NCIC basically is just over the years has been working around discretionary way of doing things. So the other thing now is why we do not have regulations under the Act to date. And that is where the biggest challenge lies, because the Act has very strong powers for the commission. But for example, if you are told recommend penalties, we can recommend penalties. You see, if we had regulations under the Act, we would have set out what kind of penalties we can regulate and how, or rather, what kind of penalties we can recommend, and who we recommend to, and how they're enforced, and enforcement would become easier. But that said, the powers that we have as of now are still sufficient for us to bite. The same Act that is there is the same Act that was in 2016 when we had the Pangani 6. When we had, I think it was Moses Kuria, Junet Mohammed, they were arrested. They were given summons, they refused to honor the summons, and they were all arrested. There's a time when you heard that NCIC is looking for you, you would start hiding, literally. You see the way people hide when they hear the DCI is looking for them. Yeah. They would start hiding, because that was in 2016 during the Ole Kaparo Commission. That commission was courageous enough, and that is the courage that we need. For instance, right now, we just need the courage. And that is what this commission under our chair is all about. Because the courage is, if we issue summons, the summons that are issued by a commission under our Act are summons like those of a high court. And so, meaning that when they are not honored, you issue arrest warrants. Yep. And those arrest warrants it means that a police officer must go and do the arrest. We have DCI officers. I was surprised actually. We have DCI officers seconded to the commission. And one of the DCI officers who is still at the commission seconded is the one who did those arrests for Pangani 6 in 2016. So I think the question is, what changed? And those are the institutional differences that we're trying to learn. That what changed between 2016, you could arrest 6 top politicians and they go and,
spend the night.
Yes, spend the night, basically. And what has changed between then and now that is making us not do things? So I think it's just the Act, the law gives us the powers to enforce. It's only that the courage, I think it's gone eroding over time, but nothing has changed in terms of the law.
Where do you think people lack courage?
Sorry?
Why do you think they lack courage?
I wouldn't answer for them because,
What do
you know...
think? It's not for them. It's just, as a Kenyan,
Yes.
from where you sit, observing, so that you know the pitfalls to avoid, why do you think they lack courage?
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to preempt, but I think this, you know, leadership, a commission is a chair and the commissioners. And leadership is about the decisions that that leaders make every day. The decisions that you make as a commission on how you want to do your job, how you want to be felt, how you want to be listened. For instance, I will say this, for us as appointed commissioners, one of the things that we have been given the leeway to do under the law is to do the right thing. And so that is a collective decision that you make as a commission. So it depends on what you decide. And I think for us, it's that courage is what we will take. I will not speak for other commissions, or rather where that courage disappeared. But for this commission, we are going to be courageous enough to pursue under the law what is there to the end, to the farthest end possible. You saw even we said that we are going to publish a list of name and shame, which is provided for directly in our act, that you will have, that you should be able to publish people who are, disobeying the law and that kind of thing, hate speech. But it has never been done. Why? Because there is, again, lack of courage. The fear of being sued, for example. Now, that is an answer. The fear of being sued for defamation. If you publish names and a list of shame. But then, how do we do our job if we are fearing to be sued? Because as long as you're doing the right thing, in fact, the courts help build jurisprudence. If you're sued in a court of law, the court will interpret the law and it will build on it. And so that is the courage that we need to just push the law the farthest that we can and see where we get.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerusha. Wanjiru, so it's about the person in the office.
In fact, Jerusha has said it. It's about leadership. And that's what Mishuki had. Because even Kriegler said, and I repeat this often, because this was in the aftermath of the 2007 elections, where we had a constitution that had been amended, I think, 23 times, consolidated power in an autocratic, authoritarian, brutal presidency. And the Elections Act was equally very weak. And Kriegler's conclusion was that that election law was enough if the officials had just complied. So the issue is, not, I think, to be fair, yes, pursue the legal option. You possibly need to do that. But then the commission has to first deal with the reality that we are dealing with a rogue state, and that indications are that from the very highest office, from the head of state, from the internal CS, there are instructions for hooded police officers posing as goons, Subarus that have, now we saw its X-trails, maybe these are, blocking out the number, and they are moving around. So this looks state-sponsored, and this is the question that I'm asking. Why did the NCIC sit, look at what's happening in Kenya, and conclude the only problem we have is hate speech? Because we already have state-sponsored violence. They had a report on goons and goonism. I'm not sure if there was a list of those paying the goons, because I keep saying it's not about goons. It's about political mobilization of violence by politicians who are the real goons. So where is the list? Because this is not Rwanda. This is not citizen on citizen violence. This is the state and politicians who are advancing the violence. So yes, we need to get the hate speech. But if NCIC is not careful, they will get even into political spats. Because the big issue on the table is who is sponsoring the violence, who is making it unsafe for protesters to go out onto the street. And then the Cabinet Secretary for Internal Security says, we have instituted safety. We contained the goons. But what they did was prevent protesters from coming to the city to undertake peaceful protest. And those goons who are sponsored by politicians, we are then told that people are self-gooning, self-abducting, self-attacking, because this is the narrative. So the first thing that we need the NCIC to do is diagnose the problem correctly. The next thing, tell us the truth. Speak it truthfully. Don't give us a report about goonism. It's been so historical. It's been going on. We know that. Tell us who and show us that trail of the money. And then have the creativity that you're being told here by the commissioner. What creativity did you use to quell those community level political, ongoing, some of those were ongoing conflicts for a very long time. It wasn't about lack of administrative sanction, lack of evidence. No, you were able to use creativity and to get communities to sit, dialogue, and resolve. And then courage, of course, is needed. So with the political actors, much as some, of course, need to be debarred, shouldn't even be on those ballots and all of that. But if the commission is here telling us that they are going to use the legal process, then they are wasting our time. They have no basis even drawing money from the public coffers, because we know how that story ends. They are just adding on to a list. It's going nowhere.
Okay.
But if they have the courage, the creativity, and can deal with the real problem, they will help to shine a light on what is happening in darkness and how cars can roam around the countryside, even in the city, blacked out numbers. How is that even possible? We are not a state, we are not a lawless state. Why did they not have a state on the status of internal security? How does somebody hold that office and you can see a deterioration in the state of internal security, and the NCIC doesn't say anything? They then come and talk about just the hate speech. So they are missing, they want us to look at the small little detail and ignore the elephant. I have nothing against elephants, so maybe I can say the bigger problem.
I hear. Actually, if I may, I think one of the myths that we've been trying to debunk as the commission is that narrative that the commission mainly deals with hate speech, because it is not. As I said, we have an array of functions, and one of them is peace building and reconciliation, and that is why you can see there has been success of mediation in communities, because we have that role under the Act of mediation and conciliation. That is basically alternative dispute resolution, and that is what has worked in most of these spaces, especially the interreligious conflict, because you basically bring together the wazes, the community elders, and those people, and have these conversations, and you're able to find solutions forward. You identify the root causes, so that if the root cause is water or pasture, you find a good way of basically, amicably. Yes, now let me come to that. On the second aspect of that goonism, we need to be able to separate, or rather to differentiate, the mandates of these institutions. NCIC has a role to play whereby it has been established, for example, that violence or goonism is as a result, or rather there is ethnic incitement that has been there. However, this is majorly a role of the police and the Ministry of Interior. Our act is very specific. That is the law. Our act is very specific. It is not interpretation. I am a lawyer, and I am telling you, I have read our act, and there are aspects that we cannot deal with. For example, when people go and attack people in an election, okay? When people storm in and start throwing stones, that is not the NCIC. We do not even have. It is a national cohesion issue after it has been established what is the cause of this. For example,
So
we have been, let me finish.
Yeah.
We have been rejecting political intolerance, because that is political intolerance where people cannot tolerate each other based on political differences. It is not in black and white, but it is one of the things that we take it up as a commission, the political intolerance. But however, those are criminal elements. It is a criminal offense properly prescribed under the penal code. When you go and assault, when you go and injure, and so the police have the first role to play.
True, but respectfully, Commissioner.
Yes.
Respectfully, listen.
Okay.
There is political intolerance, and it's expresses itself through utterances, through sponsored violence, right?
Yes.
So when one group that supports one politician is mobilized to attack another group that does not support that one politician, is that cohesion or not?
That is not cohesion.
Okay.
That is what we are calling political intolerance.
As a lawyer now,
Yes.
can the commission
Yes.
wade into those waters?
Now, that is where the balance comes in. Because when that action takes place, that is a criminal element. That is what I've started. There is the intent, and you know the intent has to be proved. There is, let me just now go to mens rea and actors rea. The action itself, you know the action, it's very easy to say, to see that on video, goons stormed in and goons attacked this person. So that criminal element is there in black and white. But the intention behind that attack might not be there in black and white. And that is something, now the commission can only come in where there is evidence that this attack was as a result of ethnic mobilization, ethnic differences. And unfortunately, our act is very narrow because most of our mandate revolves around ethnic mobilization and ethnic discrimination. In fact, everything, one of the things we are doing with the new act is trying to just widen the mandate, because you know this act was made for a specific event.
Okay.
The 207 post-election violence was as a result of ethnic problems, and so it was very.
So when there is intra-ethnic violence,
yes,
the commission cannot touch.
As long as it's ethnicity, the commission will touch.
All right.
Ethnicity.
So
yes,
when two groups from the same ethnic community fight,
yes,
does the commission?
The commission will come in if
now,
the intention is
politically what
yes.
we are seeing,
yes.
Commissioner,
yes.
is there are groups in Kisumu, people went to attack a church. Okay?
Yes.
Now you could argue that no, it's in Kisumu, majority are low. Fine.
Yes.
But people went to attack each other.
They did.
That's intra.
Yes.
But there's violence.
There's violence.
And it's political. And it could
yes.
it could spiral into something bigger.
Yes.
Like we've seen in all these areas where we see goons. The commission itself had a report on goonism and saying this is a threat to national cohesion.
It is. It is.
Beyond that, what have you done?
It is a threat to national cohesion, I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, in as much as it is a threat to national cohesion, NCIC, the law, does not give it power per se to handle it in as much as there is no proof that these actions are as a result of ethnic mobilization,
What can the commission
ethnic
do?
incitement, and
What
and
can the
on.
commission do?
So the commission, the matter that it can do is recommend, which we have done. We recommend to the DCI to pursue investigations. We recommend to the bodies that have the statutory mandate to deal. And on our end, what we have been doing, because another thing, honestly, the commission is grappled with a lack of resources, and most of the times for these activities, especially programs, the commission has been relying on donor funding. Even that, for example, that report on goonism was a donor funded. And what was established is that most of the goonism that is happening, the root cause stems from political incitement, from ethnic mobilization, and that kind of thing. So
there you go.
That
It's
is
your
the
mandate.
root cause. But each and every single case has, for example, when the goons attacked, we know they attacked. We know, generally speaking, that it was a political attack. Okay. However, that becomes a criminal offense because they attacked, they destroyed property, they assaulted people, and those, assault is properly provided for, robbery is properly provided for. Those offenses, they are properly provided for under the penal code. And NCIC must be careful not to wade into other institutions.
Don't be careful. Just do what
It's not about
Listen,
carefulness. It's the law. You cannot wade into other.
You are too careful, and so people start feeling as you don't do. In fact, look at the hands. Give the mic to the people.
Okay.
Pass the mic behind and let's... There's a gentleman at the very back there who had started. You can pass this one also to the back, right? Okay, we'll start with the lady as well. Okay. Let's start with you.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is James Aningo. So first of all, listening to what the commissioner is saying, I think there is a very big lapse when we talk about getting into justice. Because beginning with the whole procedure, which she mentioned here earlier on, that we have to go through procedures such as establishing that these are the exact words which were said from a media like this. So, for example, I'm saying a word and then they have to go and confirm that I had to say these words or I say these words and then transcribe it, the whole procedure, we are already losing justice. And through that procedure, we are also encouraging more other utterances from political leaders. So we're instigating on our own end the ethnic violence and ethnic based violences. Secondly, adding to what she said, that the commission is well equipped, we are talking about the courage. What does the commission lack when we are talking about they need the courage? Because after the 208, the establishment of the commissions, we have consecutive commissions which were able to do the job. What ways did they use to do the same similar job that they are saying that they lack the courage to do it?
Okay. James, let me ask you,
yes,
just so we can pass on the mic to others. What would you advise the commission to do?
I think I'll advise the commission to be very vigilant, because where we are looming to...
What's vigilance?
They have to be very careful in terms of how they are handling these cases. Once we are talking about a process, they are taking too long process to just establish one single utterance, while we have many other political leaders who are coming up with similar utterances. So we are talking about justice delayed, and now we are causing a lot of challenges to the communities where we have to instigate. As a commission, I can say they are actually orchestrating or sitting back and watching how these things unfold, how community or ethnic violences actually are coming all along.
Okay, thank you. Pass the mic to the lady. Let's hear.
Okay. My name is Daniela Welime. I'm a student leader at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa and an aspirant of choir presidency come 2027. Yes. So my take on or concerning all this, okay, what is political lawlessness? Political lawlessness is when politicians break laws with impunity, including hate speech, violence during rallies, using state resources for early campaigns, ignoring court orders, and taking bribes. And the motion asks if commissions like the IEBC, in charge of election, the EACC, anti-corruption, the NCIC, in charge of cohesion, are physically incapable, of stopping political lawlessness. Yes. So I oppose the motion. Commissions and state agencies are not helpless. They're not helpless. They have the power. They have the power to stop political lawlessness. And what do we demand from these commissions? We demand for institutional accountability. These commissions, these state agencies, the police, the DCI, all these stakeholders who have positions to fight these injustices that are happening, they have the power. Si ati hawawezi, wanaweza.
Let me ask you, Madam President.
Yes.
If you were to join the commission today, what would you do different?
What would I do differently? I feel like the biggest problem is corruption. The biggest problem here is corruption.
Who's corrupt? The commissioners?
Everyone. Everyone. And if we cannot curb corruption in all this, because kama tukisema kuna maandamano, there are protests, and we don't know who are these goons, wanatumwa na kina nani, and people cannot, not people, the commissions, the people in charge, they cannot, hawawezi tafuta, hawawezi kutuambia, hawawezi kutupatia majibu, yet they can, they have the power. You see?
So they're corrupt.
They are corrupt.
Okay.
They are corrupt. Mtu akipewa shilingi kidogo, anapewa shilingi kidogo, ni hivyo. Anachorea, afanye kazi.
Thank you, Daniela.
So, yes.
The lady at the back, you can pass the mic to the gentleman. Let's hear from you.
My name is Peter Raburu. I'm a student at Kenya School of Law, and I'm also a lawyer. I want to contribute and be very honest. I think the commission lacks the capacity to stop this. By the commission, I'm referring to NCIC, because most of the time, the only tool is to name and shame. I mean, that's the best they can do when it comes to all this hate speech and ethnic violence and stuff. And by that, we've not seen any fruits from what they've done. And I want to be very, very honest. And because I'm a solution person, I think the best thing we can do is to change our laws, for instance, to grant NCIC the powers to prosecute. Because my colleague was talking about corruption, and when another agency does investigation, and then another agencies they want to prosecute and stuff, it's like the conflict we've seen with Anti-Corruption Commission and the body that is the prosecution.
What do you think will happen? So if we give the commission powers to prosecute, are they going to be faster in their investigation? What's going to change?
If we give them powers to prosecute, then I think that will enhance them to not to be as toothless as they are now. Because you can't, Rigathi Gachagua says something which he has been continually inciting ethnic violence, and the only thing that you can do is to name and shame him. If the commission had the power to prosecute such cases and not to depend on the prosecution, the prosecution department, then at least they will have at least some teeth to take such matters to court. And now, after taking them to court, it does not stop there. They have to fast track the judicial mechanism to make sure. And now we urge the judiciary also to stop the corruption and to do their job and accountability to make sure that those who are culpable, like Rigathi Gachagua and Edin Duale, are rotting in jail. So until we do that, we will be just here talking about...
moving around in circles.
Yes.
Thank you, Peter.
But that's what we can do.
Who has the mic?
Thank you.
You can pass that mic to this side so we balance the mics. Eh?
Okay.
Please.
I'm Aden 11, a student leader.
Sorry, I didn't get your name?
Aden 11.
Okay.
A student leader, Busia County, Universities and College Students Association. To me, I think my sister Jerusa here is taking a Panadol for another person's headache. We should just disagree to agree. The commissions have the investigative power, but what they lack is the authority to prosecute. Because under our constitution, that's Article 157, it's only the ODPP who has the mandate to prosecute.
Yeah.
So what I think they should do, we should amend the laws and give them the direct authority to call these leaders, even some of them out of office, for legal prosecution trials. So we shouldn't be sugarcoating things. That's
Let me ask you.
Yes.
You know, we have not heard that they have taken these cases, these investigation files, to the ODPP, and the ODPP frustrated them by refusing to prosecute. Right? We are at a point where we have 10 names here. Currently, there is a lot of concern about latest political goonism and insightful remarks that have been made. The commission is still investigating. Even if they had the power to go to court tomorrow, they couldn't. Why? Okay. Because they are waiting for certificate from commission.
Now, you see, where my point comes from a point of, it's the executive that appoints the ODPP, who has the mandate to prosecute. And this person, their people, actually are talking of the politicians, their proximity to power and the influence they have the ability, what should I say, to challenge the office not to go ahead with their cases.
Okay.
And that's why sometimes you find some files or cases being dropped while you still continue crying. So I think we should just disagree to agree.
Thank you, Adenyi.
Okay, thank
you.
you.
Who has the mic now? On that side. Please tell us your name. We are coming to a conclusion, so we are doing our final round.
Yes, I'm Douglas Kalawa. I'm from Meru. And if you can hear what Commissioner is saying, is that it's clear that they protecting someone and they fearing them. Because she's telling us that when two groups and fighting in political rallies, that's a criminal case and they cannot intervene. But when two communities are fighting, that's not a criminal case and they can intervene because they don't fear the communities, but they fear the politicians. And if you see, when two groups are fighting in a certain community, there's a property destruction. That's a criminal offense because people will get hurt. But they interfering with that, but they don't want to interfere while goons are storming other politicians' rallies because they don't want to cut the hand that feeds them. Because they traded their powers with fear and other things that we don't know. They all know. They have powers, but they don't want to utilize the power. You can't tell me, for example, here you're a journalist. You can't run a show because you're not courageous. Why did you come here? You're a journalist. So when the day that you was applying for the job, that you know that you will do it, but you cannot do it if you're protecting someone. If you're coming here in front of us and holding the show, there is someone who will get hurt or he will never be happy about it, then you cannot do it. It's not that you're not courageous, it's that you don't want to do it.
I'm fearing that person.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerusalem, you're not responding now. You'll close with all the responses. Let's hear.
My name is Sharon Dambuki,
yes, Sharon.
and I'm a child protection officer. First of all, I would like to agree and disagree with the commissioner. First of all, they have all the legal rights, and again, they do not have those legal rights because they're depending on other people for information. As you heard, she said, we go through social media and through other people to find all this information. Also, you asked a question, how sure are you when they are given all that power, they will do something? They said they lack courage. Okay, they lack courage. When they're given that power, how sure are you you'll get that courage back? How sure are you you'll get that courage? Because if you are fearing these political leaders right now and you don't have that power, you don't have that courage, how sure are you when you're given it, you'll go face them head on and tell them, you did this wrong and you did this right. Looking at the Olkalau elections, they were doing the right thing. They were voting nicely until the goons came in and invaded all the voting that was happening. Also, she mentioned that they should have an arrest warrant. They said they don't have every capacity to follow on it. They have to go through somebody. Those arrest warrants, they do come from the police, right? But coming again, when we look at this thing where you said you don't have the courage, that is blackmail. First of all, you're being blackmailed. I don't want to say that it's the politicians or it's the people, but we know there's blackmail that is happening throughout.
You can't tell who.
Yeah, you can't say, but there's always someone behind the cameras blackmailing you that you don't have to do this and this.
Right.
And you don't have to come open and say, we are this and this. You have the list, but you're not taking the right mandatory.
Sharon.
Why?
What would you do if you were to join the commission today?
What would I do? First of all, I will reflect on that courage that you don't have, because it takes one person to fight a whole community. So if I have that courage, people will come and back me up. So that's one thing I will do. Have the courage to face them head on. Because if you let me use the example of the Mau Mau. If they did have the courage to fight the British, where would have we been? We would still be colonized. So we have to have that courage to face people and the confidence.
Be fearless.
Yeah, be fearless.
Thank you, Sharon. Final round, okay? Here.
Niwanyeke Maina, incoming MCA Konyo Ward. And to start with...
Which ward again?
Konyo Ward.
Konyo Ward.
In Nyeri County, yeah.
All right.
So to start with, I think the commission, the whole system, is supposed to be empowered first before we go to empower the society and the community, Because... Tell me why the commissioner is saying they need details or more evidence, yet the media houses are giving to details. Adan Duale said this and this. He said a certain community is like hyenas. Not like because they work as a group, but because they want to eat everything. What else do you need?
What more do you need?
Good evening. My name is Wangare Wakenyanjuina Modhoni. Mine is just a comment on delayed justice is denied justice. They have to do the right thing at the right time. At the right time. We cannot say that we are waiting for this and who to square watu wa kutenga kila wakati. Let's move on from that. Yeah, we have been told tumetenga ama tunawapea 6 months. Let us move from the 6 months, let us move from kutenga mabilioni and kutenga hizo ati muna investigate and all that and do what is expected of you. As citizen, we deserve that. Thank you so much.
Asante Wangari. Basically, Commissioner, unaambiwa tumefungua file, wacheni kufungua file, start investigating. We've got to come to close, and Jerusa, you'll be the last one to speak. But I want to hear closing remarks from Reverend Kefa. Can you bring the mic to the front to Kefa? Okay, the lady has the mic. She wants to say something. And please give advice to the commission.
My name is Celestine Church. I would like to ask the commissioner, other than the media houses that we have, the print media that we have, and also the social media whereby each and every citizen can get the information immediately once it's released. Which other method you want to use in order to get more information that you want to tell us?
If not from the media,
yes,
then where?
If not for the media, where else?
Thank
and
you,
also, there's a Swahili word that says, ngoja ngoja umiza matumbo, right? So, how long are you going to take for your investigation in order to come clearly and tell the citizen of Kenya that this is what you have already gotten from the source of which are that source of information do you want to get so that you can give the citizens of Kenya, whereby it's good when you are going to be served your food while it's hot, right? So it's good whereby you can give us, the citizen of Kenya, the information after you've already gotten it. We have to get it while it is hot.
Thank you.
Also, one more advice I would like to give you: just show your courage. Use your power very well to help the citizen of Kenya, whereby there is no one who can help us if you cannot speak for us. Thank you.
Have the courage. Now, we've got to conclude. Wewe, alafu lete mic hapa kwa Kefa, tafadhali. Tell us your name.
My name is Joseph Juma Sifuna. And, yes. So,
wa Kenya.
Yes. My advice to the NCIC is that they are saying that they have power and they are guided by the law. But for me, I think they're powerless because they're not performing their duties as well. And if they are not courage, as they are saying that somehow they lack courage, if they are not courage, then they should vacate the office. They should vacate the office for the courage people to take that seat or that office, and they will help the people of Kenya.
Kama ikazi imekushinda, toka. Patia Kefa tafadhali. We've got to conclude tafadhali. I know.
My name is Clinton Mondi. I'm aspirant of Utalii Ward. So what I can just say is that to the NCIC that at least let us just put the fear down and let us just perform our best to the citizen, so that at least the way you are saying that many of the vehicles are moving around without the number plates and abducting other citizens, which means that we are not together. So let us just have the courage and let us do the work.
Sawa. Mheshimiwa Clinton, uko na goons?
No, I don't have goons. I don't have goons. And I think I'm the one who will perform the best, so that at least I don't associate with any goons in the next general election.
Thank you. Thank you. Kefa. Now, speak as one person who deals with politicians on a daily basis. They come to places of worship on Sunday. This entire country has gotten to a level where we actually listen to the religious leaders when they speak. The religious leaders have been quiet on the issue of political intolerance from a political class. Much as you're telling us the NCIC has the teeth, has the power, has the what, does the church have the power to fight political goonism and impunity by politicians?
Thank you so much, Eric. I take you back to the first question you asked. The title is, are the commissions, not commission, is a representative, are the commissions and state agencies helpless in curbing political lawlessness? I want to speak to Kenyans, especially the political class. They want to be leaders. Politicians, you want to be leaders. You don't want to lead dead people. You want to lead people who are thriving, alive, that can also even go and vote for you. So we are urging politicians. It is not for them to wait for institutions to look for them. The politicians, if you are listening today, just know that Kenyans want to be led when they are alive. We don't want to be led from as refugees, because utterances of this kind is what led to Rwanda. Utterances that this kind is what took us to 2007. So we urge political class. And because you are asking for commissions and state agencies, we are asking for urging every institutions, constitutional institutions, and even institutions that are legislated, to take up their responsibility and safeguard our country. We are facing a difficult election in 2027 because this is going to be an incumbent election. There is someone defending their seat. It's going to be more challenging. And that's why we want to urge everyone to be alert. And to our commissions that is present here with us, we urge NCIC, don't wait for more powers. Use the powers that you have. Let's take one case and take it to logical conclusion. And then let's present a face that we have actually done this.
Okay.
To us as religious leaders, we are committed to doing our part in safeguarding the integrity of the pulpit and in terms of the messaging, because most people in this country attend religious institutions. They are attending churches, mosques, they are attending temples, and we are committed, and we want to urge our fellow religious leaders to be responsible in whoever is speaking from their pulpit, because religious leaders are trusted by many people. Thank you so much for inviting us, and thank you for this kind of discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Kefa. Wajiro?
I think I was going to say that Kenya is a country built on protest, built on courage, and our colleague there also said the same. And so I was also going to say that if the NCIC is not up to the job, that small mandate can be given to the National Commission on Human Rights, and those resources can be consolidated around a constitutional commission. It's unfortunate when professionals occupy positions without rising to the challenge and the mandate of the institution they hold. And so the legal discussions we've had here, while we can be sympathetic, they are not up to the task. Equally, I feel our religious leaders are not seeing the reality. I think there is a lot of partisanship, and I think we need a dialogue, which is why I was really keen on, and somebody said it, why doesn't NCIC use that dispute mechanism, resolution mechanism, for this political conundrum we are in? Because when you say you're going to use the DPP to prosecute, DCI to investigate, these institutions have been there are allegations and there are indications. They are the ones that are using extrajudicial means to harass citizens and to abduct and to kill and to maim. So we are in a very dire situation. Who is going to bail the cat is the question. Who is going to really speak to the failure of state institutions and the specter of violence that is looming over us? And I think we need dialogue, a national dialogue but first we have to start with truth and not so much the denial that we are seeing. Things are not okay. We've never seen this kind of violence and impunity and misconduct. In fact, I like that political lawlessness and politically sponsored goonism. Those are the issues we need to really speak to, and I think we need to speak to each other.
Thank you, Ajiro. Hassan?
In the press release of today, you realize that the NCIC was did it jointly with the Inter-Religious Council of Kenya. The reason why that happened is that we understand that NCIC will deal with the issue of ethnicity, violence, incitement, using the legal nuances and legal mechanisms. But the religious community, we came there because we can also offer the other one, what you call the soft power approach. We appeal to their conscience. The religious community has really worked very hard previously in this country to bring cohesion where there was a lot of division. Eric will notice that although I'm not privy to what the suspects named said, but I think you can notice that some of those ones mentioned are Muslims. They have got Muslims names from the face of it. Yeah. What we say is that as much as we believe that the legal system, the legal process will take its role, but we also talk to them. And the way my colleague from RCK, Kefa, said, we urge the political class. In Islam, when they come back to their religious consultations, we remind them. In Islam, there was one of the companions of Holy Prophet who asked the Holy Prophet that, "Oh, Holy Prophet of Allah, what are the things that will likely take me to hell?" So the Holy Prophet told him that there are two things that will most likely take you to hell, and you must be very careful with them. Two things on you: your tongue and your genitals. He warned. Those two things will take anybody to hell. And you'll notice that now the people we're talking about is because of the utterance they made. So when they come, we shall tell them that, please, Kenyans, and especially the political class, let us watch our tongues. Because those two things, that one thing and the other one, will very likely
take you to hell.
And above all, Kenya is a religious country. Our national anthem itself is a prayer. So let us go back to our religious values, irrespective of the denomination and the faith. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hassan. Commissioner Jerry Mothima.
Thank you. So I'll just respond quickly as I close to all the issues that have been raised. The first person who spoke about NCIC being granted prosecution powers for us to be able to do our role. From where I sit, I think that is a long stretch because being granted prosecution powers means amending the constitution, and that is a referendum. Basically, none of these constitutional commissions have prosecutorial powers, simply because that is a power donated by the constitution. And that cannot be taken. And there is a reason why there is that separation of powers. What is important is to ensure that there is stronger collaboration with that particular office. Seconding of officers are some of the issues that we are pursuing from the office of the ODPP, so that ODPP is involved in NCIC cases right from the word go, and that would help build files faster and also get cases that can be prosecuted. At the same time, we are also trying to pursue more civil remedies, more soft power. And here, NCIC, our biggest role is cohesion and integration. That is one clarity I need to bring. It is not necessarily to secure convictions. It is to ensure there is a cohesive and peaceful and united society. And this can be achieved by other means. For instance, today, if any of those people who have been listed could, with NCIC, come forward and issue a conference or remarks or a speech apologizing, retracting, saying that they believe in cohesiveness, they were wrong, and people should be united, and people should not, view any other community in a different way, and something of the sort, we would have achieved our mandate. We do not need to prosecute somebody for us to achieve our mandate, because our biggest mandate, we must get it from the name, national cohesion and integration. So what we are doing as the Fourth Commission is trying, even as we pursue this route, which is longer, and which everyone has correctly stated, that justice delayed is justice denied. Because, for example, we found cases for 2024, cases for 2023. I mean, things that were done in 2023, if they're being addressed now, then that justice has been denied. Even people forgot what happened. And so it is true what is coming up. And I need to be very categorical that I will not defend the accusations that have been made so much. I will just clarify. It is true that there have been delays in implementing these things. And it is because of that bureaucracy that the law provides for. The bureaucratic process that involves getting a successful criminal prosecution, conviction, because criminal has the highest for a criminal offense, you must prove beyond reasonable doubt. But for civil cases, you just prove on a balance of probabilities. And that is why for us, we would like, as the Fourth Commission, even as we pursue those other remedies, to concentrate on the civil aspects of our enforcement mechanisms, and that is the conciliation, mediation, apologies, retraction, and basically statements of goodwill, statements of cohesiveness by the perpetrators. Because if they go and I remember there's a time one of the members of parliament, I think it was Salasia, what happened is that he apologized and he organized peace tournaments and basically did actions that promote peace. And by doing that, NCSC is able to achieve its mandate without necessarily having to push for a prosecution and conviction. So peace building is at the center of what we are doing. And also even the new bill that is in parliament, we are trying to push now so that we can get more civil remedies. You realize something like the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, for instance, it gets a bit of challenges when it comes to the criminal element, but at least it has civil remedies, which include the asset recovery, freezing of assets, and that is usually some sort of sufficient deterrence to these people. So if we can get and concentrate more on these administrative and civil remedies, it will help, and that is what the Fourth Commission is going to be trying to push for and also concentrate on in our new laws. That at the end of it all, we will mostly issue compliance notices, which have also a direct enforcement mechanism at the magistrate court than the rest. Quickly, I would like to talk about this turnaround time again. I know you've asked, NTV has said, Citizen has said, what more do you need? The more we need is because of what I've told about the criminal threshold, where you have to give, it is obvious. It's unfortunate that is the bureaucratic process that the law envisages. It is there, but we have to give a certificate of electronic evidence. We have a certificate of, but what we are saying is that now we are trying to make sure that we're not relying on these agencies, because like from where I am coming from, and this is the discussion we had, as a legal practitioner, most people who go to court for defamation in civil cases, for instance, they don't go to experts like Communications Authority to get their translation. So we are trying to pursue other remedies. For example, can we have a commissioner for oaths, have someone translate, for example, under oath, and can that be accepted as evidence? And I believe those are some of the remedies that will reduce the turnaround time. And also we will invoke courts to take judicial notice, because if something is widely on radio stations and media stations, then I mean, the same way the citizens are taking judicial notice that these utterances are obvious, then we will ask the courts to take judicial notices and judicial notice of the same, and see if they can agree with us. Before, I would like to say something very important before I conclude, and I'd like to just tell you about what we are doing as NCIC, because this conversation has been guided mostly by the questions, but I need to tell you what we are doing as NCIC. Number one, we have a roadmap to peaceful 2027 general elections that we have developed. The general map, the roadmap basically is to spearhead election process before, during and after the election. We've provided for how we are going to have education, peace building program, engagement, and also how to revitalize the Uwiano platform that brings together several agencies to work together so that we can see how we can achieve a peaceful 2027 election. We are also building on peace building, healing, and reconciliation. We are doing a lot of public outreach and engagement with the youth. For the youth, we are doing what we are calling intergenerational conversations, because as you know, in 2024, for the very first time in Kenya, we had a conflict between the young and the old. It has never happened before. And so we started looking things from a different angle, and we've introduced now that intergenerational conversations. We've introduced a money kwa ground campaign, whereby now we are trying to just advocate, because the best we can do is advocate, engage citizens, and tell them the risks and the harms of engaging in anything that could lead to divisiveness. We are also trying to get strategic partnerships for peace through multi-agency approach, and also we are trying to deepen peace and cohesion in Kenya beyond the elections. So those are some of the things that we are doing. And let me say, for the youth, for most of these ethnic violence and also this goonism that we are talking about, it is the youth who are being recruited. So what we are doing is engaging the young people, and we are saying that we should not let political people use us. By the way, I am still a youth. Let me say that. So sisi wana my youth, sisi youth. One thing that we are engaging is saying that as young people, we should not let our frustrations be taken advantage of by politicians so that they can use us to bring violence. Because what happens is, when you are involved in violence, you will face the law, and the person who financed it will be watching from a distance. You're the one who risks your life, and so we should not expose ourselves for politicians. We should be, we as the youth, we are the present, we are the future. We hold a lot of power in us. We form the largest population in our country, and so we must use that power. That power, that population and that power that we have can spread hatred very quickly, but also we can be the one who bring peace. As youth, we can be the one who stand for justice. We can the ones who stand in our, we decide to use our social media platform to spread messages of peace. We can use peace hashtags. We can use
the source of the solution.
Yes, we are the source of the solution.
Now, give us your closing remarks, please.
Yes, so in closing, I would just say, first of all, let me acknowledge and say thank you for hosting us. I would like to say thank you for this vibrant audience and the vibrant youth for the engagement that you've given. It's a good space to see young people coming into a space like this to speak about matters, peace and unity. It's a very good it's a very good initiative that has been taken, and it's good to see that the youth are actually standing in the gap to ensure that we have these conversations that are very hard to have. As a commission, we assure you that, and this is an assurance, that one, we are going to work without, there will be no sacred cows, for lack of a better word. We are neutral, we are impartial, and we are doing what we can to ensure that we enforce the mandate that we've been given as a commission, that is to promote peace and cohesion. And just to close, let me say this, we have political goodwill, actually. Because so far, if you look at our list of investigation, we have people from both sides of the divide. We have not been intimidated by anyone. We have not been called by anyone to be told, this case, why are you doing this, why are you doing this. There is the goodwill that we've been accorded to do our job, and from where we sit, all we need to do is just to do the right thing. Thank you.
Asante sana, Commissioner. So that's Commissioner Jerusalem Wathima, who is with the NCIC. We've also had Hassan Kalondo and Reverend Kefanya Diega representing the Interreligious Council of Kenya. And Wanjiru Gekonyo, public-spirited citizen. plus other spirited citizens in the room. Tonight's last word is just that. Do these commissions have the power? Of course they have the power. Where do they derive the power from? The Constitution. Who's the owner of the Constitution? We the citizens. Who are we the citizens? We are the sovereign in this republic. If we've given them the power, they should move forward with courage. And that's what the room has just told them tonight. Have the courage. And also, if you feel you can't do the job, just get out and let somebody who has the courage get in and do the job. That's the last word. Good night.